Hey guys, Al here, Vitalize Seed. I hope everybody's having a good Sunday. So, this time of year, our whole big push at Vitalize Seed is we want to focus on soil health. We want to reduce inputs, etc. But we also want to educate. And although we don't use fertilizer or very little fertilizer, but on occasion we'll have a recommendation where we tell somebody, hey, you need to use a little bit to jumpstart the system or something along those lines. We want to make sure that you understand how nutrients move in the soil. I think it's really critical. So, on a bag of fertilizer, you have three numbers typically. This is just high level, generic, 10, 10, 10, triple 10. And those are representative of a percentage of the total weight of the bag. So 50 pounds, 10% of its nitrogen. Easy enough. And then it's going to have some nuance there. Type of nitrogen, is it urea or whatnot? The next number is going to be your phosphorus, and then the last number is going to be your potassium. A really easy way to think about this is that nitrogen is very mobile. It can either volatilize or leach. Phosphorus is very immobile. It does not move in the soil. And potassium is somewhere in between. So you could have some leach, you could have some become immobilized and have to get become plant available through biological activity. So in the case of phosphorus, a lot of soils have a ton of phosphorus, and we just need to make it available through plant exudates and mycorrhizal fungi communications. As far as the nitrogen, similarly, we can make a lot of that available through biological, and that's our whole system, the Nitro Boost, right? We focus on legumes and a good balance there to make sure that we're solubilizing phosphorus and potassium in the soil profile. That's already there. We're fixing nitrogen through atmospheric nitrogen fixation with legumes, and then we're planting our carbon load into that, which is then taking that all that available nutrients, assimilating it, and building that thatch layer up for the microbes to then consume and cycle those nutrients back. It's a whole focus on nutrients cycling. Without going down a tangent too far, I just wanted to touch on this because I've seen people saying, hey, can I fertilize now? And in most situations, I'm sure there's some nuance we could get into in an ag situation if you're injecting fertilizer or something like that. But in most situations, guys, I'm just going to say no. If you're a gardener, if you're a food plotter or a wildlife food plotter, or you have hay production, something like that, I really would say most of the Midwest and most of the whitetails range right now, we're seeing a lot of variability in temperatures. We're seeing snowfall one day, then it's 50 degrees and raining the next. You're going to have a lot of prone to expansion and thick thawing and freezing, rainfall, leaching, etc. I don't think now is a good time. And again, I just think it's going to be a waste of money. If you are interested or you feel like you do need to use some fertilizers, I would plan out, one, what is your soil test saying? So I'd be planning for, hey, I need to get soil test this fall. I think this is winter. I think this is a good time to take soil tests, early spring and winter. I always try to take mine around March. I always take it at a 6-inch probe. I mark my fields with GPS coordinates so there's consistency from year in, year out. I'm one. Some people might disagree with this, so if you do, don't shoot the messenger. But I have had very good success with wintertime lime applications without even working it in. Even in no-till systems, I have seen pHs hold, and those fields have not been worked. The lime had not been worked in. I have just simply broadcasted the lime on top. 6-7 years ago, taking soil tests at 6 inches using GPS coordinates, and I'm still seeing pHs hold very steadily. And then, of course, I go into the 1-2 system. By understanding, though, how nutrients move in the soil, it allows us to really understand the fertility program and how we can give each individual field or garden or row crop field, orchard, whatever it is, the right fertility in the right form at the right time to maximize our dollar spend and that plant uptake in the case that we do need fertility. So one quick example I would give you is we use seed feed on our fields, which is a product we came out last year. It's a powder, it's humics based, and it has NPK in natural forms in it, as well as some calcium. It's a seed coat though, so it's a little tiny bit of product that goes right on the seed. Well, why is that important? Well, they're in soluble forms, and you put it right on the seed at the time of planting. So if you run a no-till drill through there, and that seed falls in the furrow, that's on the seed. So now that seed's going to start growing as moisture becomes available in a couple days, let's say 3 days. Now you have the humics holding those nutrients, making them stable, helping that seed to get good germination, having that root established, and now you have that little bit of fertility, very tiny spit that's not going to impact the plant having root exudation or anything like that. It's not force feeding the plant. It's giving a little bit of fertility to get it started. So we do that because now you have that little bit of phosphorus that tends to be an immobile nutrient right there on the seed. A little bit of nitrogen just to give it a good start to get it started. So that's a key. And there's a lot of great products out there, but that's one that we've done that we felt is a key to understanding soil movement and fertility movement in the soil so that we can maximize our production without having to just go out there and spread 700 pounds of fertilizer on top in the hopes that it might make a difference. The last suggestion I'll give you is there was a gentleman in Illinois. I talked about this on a couple podcasts recently. I think it was in Illinois. He was a longtime farmer, no-till farmer, just phenomenal guy, full of information. He really did a nice job in videos. And he had been broadcasting P&K for 15 years on top of his field. And he took a soil test at 8-inch depth. And every inch, he sent it to the lab individually. And over 15 years, like 90% of his P&K. And this gentleman was growing row crop corn, right? So, I mean, he is extracting nutrients out of that field every year growing corn, or every other. I don't know what his rotation was as far as crops go. But, I mean, that's a big yield driver, right? I mean, corn needs fertility. In almost all of the areas where he had just broadcast for 15 years, the P&K was still on top. Now, he had a heavier soil. You know, I'm not going to get into all the specifics of that. But the point is that he was like, goodness gracious, he ended up actually going into tillage for like a year in order to get that down into the root zone so that he could then try to get some of that back up and then go right back into no-till for the next probably 15, 20 years. But I guarantee you after doing that, he would be altering how he is applying nutrients to make sure that it's be right in there in the root zone. So we don't always have that benefit, nor do we need it in a lot of situations, wildlife, food plots, gardens, etc., because we can use things like foliar sprays, like our fish fertilizer plus humics, our seed feed, and just using biology in the 1-2 system, in our case, to maximize biology and maximize the nutrient availability. But if you are somebody who's still interested in fertility or commercial fertilizers, that's okay. But just make sure you understand how they're moving in the soil so that you can maximize what you're getting down, because you probably can use a lot less and still get a lot better results. So hopefully you enjoyed that, guys. If you get outside, enjoy the outdoors. And if you like this stuff, please share, subscribe, and follow along. And check us out at vitalizeseed.com.